Hi everybody. So today is another day of LeetCode practice. Today I face a really interesting topic which is called house robber. And this topic is about trying to steal as many houses as possible to maximize the profit. But the caveat is you cannot steal from the adjacent houses and it will trigger an alarm and call the police. So each house has different money or value. So you want to maximize the profit as possible, but not stealing two consecutive houses. So how do we, so this problem is more like a law dynamic programming problem. But again, I'm very new to LeetCode practice and I don't really know about dynamic programming. So this is a very interesting topic, but previously I tried to solve different dynamic programming. Most of it only need to move like one pointer to the front rather than like two houses behind. So this is another unique dynamic programming that I need to learn about. So for this, the logic is either the robber will steal from the previous house and all the accumulated, or it will steal the current house, which also allows to steal the money from two houses before, plus all the accumulation until current. So there is only two possibility, is either to skip one or skip two houses to avoid the alarm and maximize the profit. So skipping three houses is not maximizing the profit as you can actually steal one house, skip one in the middle, and skip and steal one again and skip another house. So yeah, so there's only two possibility: skip one or skip two. So if stealing the previous house is more profitable than stealing the current plus the two house before, it will skip stealing the current house and move on, which means it won't add the how to say the sum to the current. So if stealing from the current house is more profitable, it will add up all the previous steal plus the current steal and save as the new previous one. Both will save the old value of previous one into the previous two, both scenario. If it's still or not stealing, it will still both save the previous one value into the previous two. So this is the beautiful code. It's only have like seven, eight, nine, probably 9 lines of code. Yeah, it looks so simple, but yeah, it's quite complex in the meantime. So, okay, for example, this is the example of like how the example that LeetCode gave. So starting from number one. So if the like starting from the index 0, which is number one, the previous will be 0, and we're following this algorithm, which is for the number in nums, which is at the first number. So the number now is 0. It will save the previous one into a temporary, and it will find the maximum of previous one and previous two plus num. So previous one is 0, previous two plus num is 0 plus 1, which is equals to 1. And previous two will save the number of the previous one. So in the end, we will get previous one equals 0, and previous one equals 1, and previous two equals 0. So it will look back again, the next number. So currently, previous one is 1, and the previous 2 plus num is 2, 0 plus 2. So it will save the maximum. This is the max. It will save it back to previous 1, which is equals to, and previous 2 will take over the number from the previous one. And continue again. So currently the previous one is number 2, and previous 2 plus num is 1 plus 3, which is 4. So we end up with previous one is now 4, and previous 2 is still 2. And finally, until the end, we get the maximum of 4, and we'll return previous one. So this works because, yeah, it will always keep track of the cumulative steal and whether to steal from the current or proceed. So for like yeah, for each one here, like because previously is only one, so the previous one wanted to steal from it, so it update here. But again, when the previous two is keeping track of the older, like the cumulative number, and if it's when the new number is added to previous two is higher than the previous steal, then it will update the latest steal. Sort of like that. I feel like I'm confusing myself as well as I'm talking. Hopefully, I can explain better next time. So this is another scenario um of the steal. Yeah. Okay. So like for first one, we added. So this is our first cumulative steal, which is only two. We added up with the latest steal of two, and another one. The next step, which is much higher than two. So we update the highest steal now is seven. And again, the next step is we always keep the oldest and largest steal in the previous two after we finish stealing. So for this part is like 2 plus 9 is equals 11. So we update the best steal currently is 11. And the previous steal, the oldest steal, again, we keep it in the previous two. So it's always taking like update the newest one, but we still keep track of the oldest steal. Okay, so currently we update. So for the newest steal and the oldest steal and the newest steal, and we can see that this one is only 10. So we don't update the largest steal, and we just keep track of our largest steal currently at the previous two is 11. And finally, at index number 4, which is our last number, we have accumulated 11 of our money, and we added by 1 is equals 12. So our largest deal is finally 12. So this is the, how to say, this is the case, how to say, an example which is not in the, how to say, the question example, which I think is important in this case because if you see by you wanted to steal from these two rather than like 2 1 or 1 2. My initial solution was thought that I sum up all the odd numbers and sum up all the even numbers and compare which one is higher, and then which one is higher, then the higher ones will be the one we rob. So either we rob from the odd number houses or from the even number houses, but it's not the case for this one because in the end you want to steal from this one, number 2 and number 2, to have a total of 4 rather than have an odd number of steal or even number of steal. So how do we do that? Again, from this beautiful code of keeping track of the largest steal in previous one, but also keeping track of the previous largest steal in previous two. Okay. So now we start with like number 1, I mean the first index, which is index 0. So we ended up with the largest steal now is probably I shouldn't put like previous one, but it is actually the previous one. But previous one always means the largest steal. So the largest steal now is 2, and we keep track of the oldest steal with a 0 at the moment. And at index 1, the largest steal is, I mean, the largest steal will still be 2. Will still be 2 because 0 plus 1, because we're not stealing from this because we need to skip this. So skip this, we steal this is 1. This one is not bigger than 2. So we're sort of skipping it and we're not gonna steal this. Okay. So for index 2, currently we're index 2, previous one equals 2, and 2 plus 1 is equals 3. And we wanted to steal from this, but wait a minute, shouldn't we be skipping this number? Yeah, that's the beauty of next one, because we have kept track of our order steal of 2. So for the last step, we have our largest steal previously was 3, but our oldest steal was 2, and plus the latest steal is 2, which equals to 4. And finally, we have our largest steal is 4 by skipping one number because we will abandon this number 3 and get our biggest steal, which is number 4. So this is the beautiful code of a dynamic programming of keeping track, let's see, keeping track of the largest deal, and also don't forget about the older largest deal. Yeah, so hopefully this explained well to myself, and this beautiful code of some stealing logic. And yeah, but I'm not gonna steal any bank. Yeah, until next time. See ya. Hope everyone understand. Bye.